Second idea that really helped me during the last few days, last few weeks, was a reflection of myself about 20 years ago. I've been serving small business owners for 2 decades. I'm going into my 3rd decade right now. And I remember those days. I always see people on social media and people complaining on especially with me, accounting groups, of a system that's offline and they can't work on it. Even if it's off for one day, listen to the story of where I come from, and then you will decide if one day of offline is really that crazy and that bad. So I came from beginnings of accounting practice where you would do all your IP5s by hand. It would be a triplicate book where you write everything down, every single IP5 with your hand. If you make a mistake on that IP5, you need to scratch it, cancel it, and do it over again. At the end of that IP5 written format of each and every employee, you would have done, you've got the IP5 recon that you need to do, and that was also handwritten. And on that form, you had to write exactly every single number of the IP5 numbers as you made it out, and every IP5 that you cancelled, you had to write in as well, and you had to write a reason for that. Though that recon with the IP5s that you had to tear out the one copy for SARS, you had to attach everything together, physically go to SARS, get it stamped, and that would be your IP5 recon. And these same IP5 books, you had to physically go to SARS and ask them to issue you these specific IP forms or IP5 books to obviously do the handwritten format. So it would be going to SARS, getting the books, going back to the office, write out all the IP5s, do the recon, attach everything, make copies of that, and then you go back to SARS and do that. I remember a stack of IP5 books up to the roof, or at least up to the ceiling, of all these IP5 books that we had to keep for record purposes for SARS. And the same was with income tax returns. I mean, you used to write that whole income tax return in with your hand. Then you had to attach the financial statements that you've done and or any other supporting documents you had to attach to this income tax return, and obviously make copies of everything to make sure that you have record of what you've been sending to SARS. And then you need to go to SARS physically and submit it, and obviously get your stamps to make sure that you also have a copy of confirmation of that you actually submit that. These days, I mean, being people in accounting, everything is pulled from an accounting system. Everything is pulled through to Easy File. That's also a digital system. There shouldn't be any capturing by hand, and everything you upload digitally while sitting in your office. And it's merely a change of perspective of this is how far we came in 20 years. But we mustn't forget that how much we were willing to work 20 years ago and how much we had to work 20 years ago on the same information, on the same stuff. And I mean, everything is the same. I mean, if you look at internet banking, where were the days that you had to go to the bank and do everything there? And then slowly but surely we were able to do some stuff on an app. Nowadays, I can do everything on the app. I don't even have to speak to my bank manager almost ever, because every little thing that I want to do with my banking, I can do online. I can do on my app. It's something that I remind myself about if I get irritated about something digital format or of a program that doesn't want to work, or internet may be off for a few minutes or an hour, I always remind myself these days, it can be worse. It was worse. It was a lot more intense in the way we've been operating 20 years ago, and it's great. It's wonderful that we can work in better ways. In fact, our whole practice are based on modern technology, in such a way that a lot of other accounts that sometimes outsource for us struggle to keep up with our new formats, because it's just pretty advanced. But I always remind myself, it can be worse. It was worse, and it helps me to slow down a lot.